What's up, Ratha here. This video is going to be an intro to SolidWorks for absolute beginners. I'm going to break this tutorial into 3 parts: creating a part, an assembly, and lastly drawing. So by the end of this series, you'll be able to create this Lego train using fundamental principles so you can start your own first 3D CAD project in SolidWorks. Hey, I'm Ratha. I've been using SolidWorks professionally for over 10 years, and I like to 3D model things with the intent of being manufactured. Now, if you like to follow along or want the files used in this tutorial for reference, head over to rathasochenda.com/downloads to get your project files. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, the first thing we want to model is the train body, is create a new part. So let's go into Advanced, under Tutorials, select Part, hit OK. But before we start CAD modeling anything, what we want to do is we want to name the file part. So let's do this, go File, Save As. Let's save it somewhere in your desktop. Let's create a folder and call this Train. Okay, select that folder and we're gonna call this Train Body. Hit OK. And next is you wanna go into the bottom right and select your units. We're gonna be working in millimeters. In order to start any sketch, we have to figure out what plane we want to start it on first. So in this particular example, we want to use the right plane. So hover over the right, select it, and you'll see this sketch icon. Select the sketch. Now you're in the right plane of the sketch. Next is we want to go up to sketch and we want to create a line. 2 ways to access it. You can select it there, or you can hit L. I'm gonna hit L on my keyboard. Normally when I start a sketch, I like to use the origin as a reference. So we're gonna select the origin here. You can see if we move forward and we try to center this, you'll see a line tick mark. That's a sketch relation. We're gonna snap it there. Then we're gonna go over somewhere to the right. And then we're gonna, you can see, if I hover up and down, it snaps into place. Let's say I forgot to accidentally do it and I just selected there and I went down and I snapped this here and went back to the origin, hit exit out. One way to correct this, if I wanted to make this horizontal, is to select the part, either go up here into the pop-up menu and make it horizontal, or I can go over to the left and hit horizontal. Okay, now that we have a basic sketch laid out, one thing to mention before we move forward is to make sure that it is fully enclosed. And right now it's shaded with this blue. That means the sketch is fully enclosed, meaning that all these lines are connected. Now, for example, let's say it wasn't, and you tried to move forward, and let's say you created a line and you got really close and you thought it was connected, and the shaded didn't come up. That just shows you one way that this is not fully enclosed. And let's say you forgot to add this feature and you're just moving forward and you're trying to go and extrude your sketch, you can see SolidWorks doesn't do anything. It tries to extrude it and you'll get an error every single time. So make sure your sketches are fully defined before you move forward. So let's reposition this point, snap it back to the origin, and make sure you go to sketch, make sure shaded and sketch contours turn on so you know that your sketch is fully defined. Now we can move forward to the next step, which is defining our sketch. To do this, you see these black lines and you see these blue lines. Right now, the sketch can kind of go anywhere. We need to constrain this. And to do that, we go to Smart Dimensions and we're gonna select this edge, make this 22, make this 3, make this 6. Now you can see most of the lines are turning black, which is defining this layout sketch. And last is to make the angle dimension. So we're gonna grab this line and this second line, and you can see depending on what direction we go, we get a degree. We're gonna make this 45. Now you can see all the lines are all black and that our sketch is fully enclosed. Next is to convert this 2D sketch into a solid body. One way to do that is to go to the features, hit extrude base, and now you can see that this sketch is becoming a 3D solid body part. In this example, we're gonna make it a mid-plane, thickness 6 millimeters. Hit OK. And now we have a solid body from our 2D sketch. Okay, now that we converted our 2D sketch into a solid body, if you look over to our design tree, it actually recorded it for us. We have our boss extrude, hit the drop down menu, we have a sketch. And this actually just records each thing so that if we continue making features or sketches, it actually will log that into the design tree. So for example, if you want to go back and make a change, you can go in and right click it and hit edit feature and make your desired changes. Or you can also go hit the drop down menu, hit edit sketch, and you can always edit your sketch, hit F to zoom in and change whatever you need here. So that's one good thing about SolidWorks, it has parametric modeling. And now we want to create the connecting pieces that connect each Lego to the other Lego. To do that, instead of using a sketch plane, we're gonna use a face to sketch on. We're gonna select this top face, either hit sketch here, or go here and hit sketch here on the upper left. And it takes us to this normal view. If that doesn't take you to this normal view, and let's say you hit sketch and it went like somewhere like this, make sure you go into options, sketch, and make sure automatic view rotate normal to sketch plane is selected. If it's not selected, this is what happens. Let's say I hit sketch here. You can see as soon as I start sketching, let's say I want to sketch a circle and I want to sketch a line, it kind of makes it hard to see. So we want to make sure that is selected on. Or one way is to hit the space bar and select whatever side you want to sketch on. In this particular case, we want to select it on the top. And to rotate this piece, what you want to do is you want to hold your scroll wheel down and then move the mouse left and right while holding the scroll wheel down. This will allow you to pan, rotate the piece. Another thing is if you want to zoom in and out, what you want to do is push your scroll wheel forward to zoom out, push your scroll wheel back to zoom in. So those are some things just to familiar yourself with. And if you want to select everything, what you want to do is you want to hold down your left key of your mouse and then hover over your piece. And this will allow you to select something. In this particular case, we'll just delete that. Go back to options. Go to system options, sketch, and turn on that automatic view. This is just good practice because anytime you start a sketch, you want to be normal to it. You don't want to sketch from the side. So now let's do that again. Hit that face, hit sketch. It brings us normal to that view. So let's go back to the sketch, hit circle. And we're gonna draw 2 circles, okay? Exit out. And then we're also gonna draw a construction line because we want these to be symmetrical. So hit center line. And then you wanna hover over down to the origin and we can just bring it somewhere vertically up. Make sure that vertical constraint is there. Now we want to hold our left key of our mouse and select the whole thing. Now you have the line, construction line, the two circles selected, and now we can add a symmetrical constraint. This makes it symmetrical to one another. Next is we want to dimension the size of the circle. So we're going to say that is 2 millimeters and the distance apart is going to be 3. And we're going to make this distance from this edge 1.5. And now you have this piece fully defined. We want a few of these circles. So to do that, we're going to do, see, now we kind of zoomed out or zoomed off centered. One key thing also is just to go hit F. F will kind of bring you back into to center. Okay, now that we have our sketches fully defined, we want to create a linear pattern because we want multiple of these going down. But we don't want to draw each sketch and give everything a dimension. So we're going to cheat a little bit. So to do that, we're going to hit linear sketch pattern in the sketch tab. We want to make sure that we're going down in the Z direction. If you want to know what the Z direction is, just look at this down here. you're looking at the Z direction. So just hit this edge, okay? Now we want to know what entities to pattern. We want to do these 2 circles. Okay, it's going in the down direction, which is correct. Now if it was going in the other direction, we just hit reverse. But this, for this example, is going down. And we want them to be 3 millimeters apart from each other. For instances, we want 6. Select OK. So in order to fully define it, we'll just select this circle and the outside edge of the other circle, and then make sure that says 3. It's fully defined now. Next is to add the boss feature to it. So we're gonna do another extrude. This time, instead of doing mid plane, we're just gonna do a blind. This gives us just whatever depth we wanna go with. So we wanna go with a height of 0.5 millimeters, and then make sure merge result is selected. This will combine these features to this body. There we go. Now we want to shell out the Lego. The quickest way to do it is to use the shell command in the features. So hit shell, and then we want to, if we didn't select a face, let's say we wanted to shell the inside out and make the whole Lego have a uniform thickness, we can just give it a uniform thickness of 0.5 as an example. Hit OK, and you're like, well, what happened? What ended up happening is, if I take a section view and I go into and I cross that, you can see it pretty much hollowed it out. So a shell feature works kind of like an egg. You take everything out of the egg and you leave the hard shell, and that thickness is what remains, and that's kind of how the shell feature works. But for this example, we want it to work very similar to that, but we want to remove this face. We'll select this face and have a thickness of 0.5 selected. If you want to see a preview, just hit show preview. It'll kind of give you an idea. Now you can see that it's blowing out this bottom face is what we want. So hit OK, and there you go. Now we have a shell feature, and our piece is uniformly defined, and that bottom face is removed. So that's what the shell feature can do for you. Next, we are going to create our axles where the wheels will connect. So we're gonna do that on the side face. Now we want to create a circle. A few of these, we want to create 3 circles because there's gonna be 3 wheels on each side. Hit exit, select the whole thing, and hit equal. Next is to make it 2 millimeters. And now we want to make these horizontal to one another. We're gonna select the node of each circle, the center node. And while you're doing that, make sure you hold Control and select each one. And then this will pop up and make this horizontal. Okay, that's what we want. Now with the sketch relations out of the way, we want to dimension the part to fully define it. So I believe this is gonna be 1.5. This is gonna be 3. 6. 6. Next is we want to create the outer circle. So I can do it either way. I can do it like this and define it that way for each one, but that just takes too much work. So let's delete those by selecting it, hitting delete, and go into offset entities. And we select the circle, you can see it offset it a sketch 10 millimeters. We want to make this 0.5, and we want to make sure that it is going in the outer direction. If it wasn't, we just hit reverse, but this is the correct orientation. So we want to hit OK, and then we want to repeat that twice. Actually, we want to move this to 2 millimeters up. There you go. That looks about right. Next is to go into features, hit extrude, and we're going to extrude that out 0.5. Make sure the condition and the direction is blind. and 0.5 is the depth, and merge result is on. Okay, so next is we want to mirror the axles across. In order to do that, let's turn on our planes. Let's go to show, right click it and hit show, and you can see we want to mirror it on the left side, and you can see that the right plane is what we want to mirror it across. Hit mirror, select the right plane, and the features we can select it either in the drop down here, or actually I like to zoom up and select it here. Just make sure you're selecting the right feature. In this particular case, it's the extrude. And you can see a preview shows on the right, and then you want to hit OK. And now we can hide the planes. We can just hover over the planes and hide those. Okay, the last step is to do an extrude cut. One way to do that is we're going to select this face here and hit, I can also use this normal too, and then hit over to sketch. Now I'm sketching on this view, but I kind of want to rotate it and view it this way. So I'm gonna hold my scroll wheel down and then move to the desired location. And then I'm gonna hit the space bar and select this face. Now I'm in this horizontal view. Next is I want to create a construction line. A construction line is mainly used for references. So let's hit this construction line and let's draw it somewhere there. Let's go to smart dimensions. Make this 2 millimeters. Okay, and let's move these nodes out a little bit. And we're gonna do a sketch text. To do that, we're just gonna go into our search command, type in text, and make sure you have text is selected. And then we're gonna use the reference construction line as our curves. In this case, I'm just gonna type in my website. As you can see, it's way too big. So unselect use document text, hit font, go over to units, go down and say 1. And we're gonna make that and say okay. And then we're gonna select this and make this bold. And we're gonna make this in the center. And now we wanna do an extrude cut. So hit features. Now go over to extrude cut. You can see it wants to cut into the part. We're gonna cut in 0.25. Okay. Now we have our extrude cut, and there you go. We have our first part, which is the body. Oh yeah, and don't forget to save this. Okay, now we want to model the cap of the train. So it's pretty much going to be this piece here, and then we're going to mirror it across. So if you look at it, we're going to have some extrude cut features, some fillets, some extrude thin pieces, and maybe some shells. All right, let's get into it, guys. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hop into an advanced, go to tutorial, hop in your part. Same thing, we're going to switch this up and make this millimeters. Then we are going to also select on the right plane as well. We can also use the front. Actually, let's go into the front plane and sketch on that. Doesn't really matter. Okay, we're gonna do this center rectangular sketch. Select the origin, snap it somewhere, hit exit. Now go to your smart dimensions. We're gonna make this 6.5 millimeters and 6. Okay, exit out, hit the features, hit extrude, and we're gonna extrude this 6, and we're gonna make sure we go in the other direction. So we're gonna reverse that blind direction. Okay, that looks good there. Actually, we're gonna make this 3. Okay, now we're going to shell this feature here. Click shell, and the only thing we're gonna do different is instead of making everything 0.5 millimeters in wall thickness, we actually want to make this bottom face 0.75. So we'll just go down to multi-thickness, select 0.75, select the face. And if you want to see a preview, you can see, if I go to normal, you can see this is thicker than the other 3 walls. And that's what we want, okay? Now after we shelled it, now we want to make a window. So let's select this face, hit sketch, select a rectangular, just a corner rectangular is fine. Select somewhere on the face. And what I like to do is to make this symmetrical, One way to do it is I like to hover over the bottom edge, and this is the midpoint. See, this node pops up on the bottom. Then I like to draw my construction line from there, and I like to connect it to the midpoint of the line up here. And then I like to give it a vertical constraint, and that makes this piece symmetrical. So let's define this guy. So let's make this, go to Smart Dimensions, hit this edge here, make this 4. And let's also select this guy here. And I can also do 4, or I can go equal, click this 4 here and make that equal. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to go, let's make this 4 again, is to select this edge and this line and make this equal. So that's one way to do it. And now we want to make this a 0.5. Okay, now we want to hit exit, hit feature, now go and hit extrude cut. And we want to cut it throughout the whole part. We don't need to go a particular depth. Since we want to go through the whole part, let's just go through all. And through all will pretty much essentially cut everything throughout the piece. So hit OK. So now we want to round off these corners. So in order to do that, let's go to fillet. Make sure your fillet type is constant size fillet. We're going to make this a radius of 0.25 millimeters. And then if we select the inside corner, you can see that this top menu comes up. And because we only want to do it on the 4 corners on the inside of the window, we'll just select this, and it automatically pops these fillets in for us. So that's one quick way to do it, or you can do it the manual way, which is you select one here, that edge, you select this edge, and you select this edge, and you go back to this. Okay, so that's how we rounded off our window. Next is to create the connecting pieces. All right, and one way to do that is I can shell this bottom piece, or in this case, I'm actually gonna do an extrude cut. So select this bottom face, hit sketch. Let's draw a rectangle. Actually, we can do it this way. Let's convert entities. Select this face, make this 0.5, and then reverse it. And then we're gonna cut it up to this face. So hit OK. Now that we have our sketch, we go hit features, extrude cut. And instead of cutting all the way to the surface, we actually want to offset from this face. So to do that, we go to direction 1, go to offset from surface as our end condition, select this face here, and nothing happens right now because we want to reverse the offset. First, we want to actually select the offset distance, and we want to offset at 0.25. Right now it's going in the wrong direction, so we'll just reverse it, and then that's it. Hit OK. Now we want to add the connecting piece here, so we'll do that. We'll select this face, actually hit sketch, go to your circle sketch, and let's just select something in the middle, something like that. Okay, hit exit out. We want this to be in the middle, and there's a few ways to define it. One way I found out to be the quickest is to go to your line drop down, hit center line, and draw a diagonal from that edge to that edge. Okay, hit exit, select the center of the circle, that node, and hold control and select the construction line, and then you want to connect, and then you want to select make midpoint, and that will define the center of the circle. And now all we have to do is give it a circular dimension. Let's give that 2. All right, and now what I can do is I can do the same thing I did before, is do an offset and extrude it that way. If I go like this, let me show you quick. Up to surface. I can do it this way, or I can do it this way. So let's delete this. So go into it, right click, hit delete. Go back into edit sketch, and let's delete that. Another way I can do it, which I like, is I go to features, hit extrude, and go to thin feature. And now we want to make that piece 0.25 thickness. And then we want to go extrude up to surface, which is this surface here. And there you go. And that yields the same result. And I like to do it that way. So let's do the same thing. Let's do it up top. So hit sketch. Draw your center line. Let's do it. If I just draw a line, it's just gonna give me this line because we're gonna make it symmetrical. But I can also click it and select construction geometry from here as well. So let's make our 2 circles. 1, 2, exit, select the whole thing, symmetry. And then we also want to make a center line from here as well. So let's do that. Let's hover over this edge, create this midpoint, go over to this side, connect it, hit exit, make this construction, grab this node, select this, and just make this coincidence. Okay, now we have it on this. Now it's center from both directions. So now all we have to do is just give this a center dimension from circle to circle. So let's grab this edge here, this edge of the circle. Let's make that 3. And we know we want to make this 2. Now it's fully defined. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go feature, extrude, thin features, and we want to go up. Our thickness is 0.25, which is correct. And then we want to go up a height of 0.5. And there you guys have it. And the cab is done. Okay, that's one part. So in this here, we learn how to do extrude thin, some fillets, multi-thickness shell. Let's save this out. Hit save as, go to desktop, train, and we're gonna call this train cab. Okay, so the next piece we're gonna do is the chimney. It's pretty much this guy here. So let's isolate it. So here I'm gonna teach you guys how to use the Revolve feature. That's gonna pretty much create this piece here, because you can see it. If I were to put a line in the middle of this, which is the axis, and you draw the side profile sketch, you can actually take that sketch and revolve it around that center line. So let me kind of explain that further. All right, so let's, same thing, let's create a new sketch, or let's create a new part. Go to advanced, tutorials, hit part, okay. Make sure to select millimeters because that's what we're working with. And we are gonna do a front plane sketch. So let's go there, side, and then we're gonna use the line tool again. So the first thing we're gonna do is select the origin, bring the line up, hit exit, select it, and we're gonna make this construction geometry. Now we wanna make the side profile of the revolve. So in order to do that, let's go here, let's draw a basic outline. Pretty much we're taking that chimney and we're slicing in half, and this is kind of the profile you would get if we did that. So I'm just drawing lines right now, and one key thing is if you want to jump into a radius, because we're going to draw that lower portion, what you want to do is you want to show you real quick. Let's delete this line, take this line here, go down, and if I go out, it creates another line. Now if I swing back to this node, it actually will give me a radius. So that's one little quick tip. And then I can just continue on creating my lines. Okay. And right now we're just gonna get a rough outline. And you can see here, I forgot to snap into place. So we'll just make that horizontal. Okay, now that we have a basic sketch profile of the chimney, what we want to do now is start dimension this. So let's do that. Let's go to smart dimensions. Let's make this guy here, and so let's select the center line. So I can do it either way. I can either take a half of the diameter and give it that dimension, or if I swing over to the left, I can give it a diameter dimension. I actually want to give it a diameter dimension. So let's do that. Let's make this 5. Let's do that again. And if I select this outer edge, you can see that automatic pops up for us, which is a really cool thing. So select that, we're gonna make that 7. And then we're gonna make this 3.5. And then we're gonna make this 3. So that you can see that in the sketch layout, we actually were able to make these diameters pretty quickly because we use a center line. All right, now let's define the rest of the parts. Let's make this 0.5. So now we want to bring this in a little bit because it kind of swung out a little bit. Let's make this 0.75. 0.75. 0.5. And then what else do we need to define? Okay. And then we want to make this from this bottom edge to this 4.5. Okay. What else do we need to define? Okay, we need to define overall height. Cool. Let's make this overall height of 8. Okay. What else is not defined? Okay. Okay, and now we want to make this collinear. We actually want it to follow on the same line as this. So select that line and this line and go in and hit collinear. Okay, now we fully defined our part. We can close the sketch now. So let's go in and create a line. Make sure that we select the top part of our line and the very bottom. And now that you can see that this shaded in, this means that the sketch is fully closed. So that's with this feature on, shaded sketch contours. So we'll leave that on just for reference. And now we're gonna go to features, and now we're gonna use Revolve base. Hit that, and it automatically popped up. Now if it didn't do that, let's hit clear. Axis of rotation will be the center. You can either use a construction line or you can just use the line that we created. And you can see it gave us a full 360, and that's what we want. Now we're gonna hit okay. Okay, now that we have the bases of our chimney, we just need to create the hole cutouts. I'll select the top face, hit sketch, and we're gonna make this circle 4 millimeters. So let's hover up to the center and snap out, hit exit, smart dimension 4. And now we're gonna go to features and we're gonna do extrude cut. And we're gonna go a depth of 2.5. Okay. Now we wanna go back to the bottom and hit sketch. And then we wanna make this dimension 2. So snap that there. Hit exit, smart dimensions, go 2. Okay. And we can just hit features, extrude cut. And we can just cut this guy all the way through. Okay, and there it is. We are completely done with our chimney. And if we do a section view, you can see this is our profile. So you can see we had created essentially half the profile, revolved it along the axis, and then that gave us our chimney. And then we just did 2 extrude simple cuts. Okay, that is it. You should be able to now make the other components of the train. So these components will be the top part of the cab, which is the cab frame. And then we also have the train dome. And then we also have the train wheels. And then we also have the smoke box. And you know what? Let's create that real quick. Let's do that. It's a very simple piece. So let's go to new part. Let's go into millimeters. And let's go to front face. Let's create a line first. Exit. Let's grab that line and select the origin center and make that midpoint. And let's draw a line here. And exit. Let's draw another line there. And we want to make that arc. So in order to do that, we want to go to the drop down menu here and select 3-point arc. Select this node, and hit OK. And now we want to make this tangent. So one way to do it is just to grab and select tangent, or you can do this, you can connect that, or you can do this, you can select the top radius and then hold control and select the second line and make that tangent. Okay, now we want to just bring this up, dimension it. So we know we want to make this bottom piece 6. And we want to make this 1. And that fully defines our piece. We hit exit. So now we want to hit extrude, and we want to extrude this 6 millimeters. So let's go that directions, 6 millimeters. Okay. Hit OK. And now we want to shell out this bottom face. Let's hit shell again. Hit shell. We're gonna make that 0.5. Okay. Good. And now we want to add the connecting pieces so that this piece connects to the main body. So in order to do that, select this face, hit sketch, select the, we're going to select the center line, select the outside corners, hit exit, draw your circle. You can actually draw anywhere, and then hit exit, select the center, select the line, hit midpoint, and then go to smart dimensions, make that 2. Then we're gonna extrude thin again, and we're gonna make that 0.25, and then we're gonna go up to body. So this just connects it to this body, and there you go. Hope this gave you a basic understanding on how to start. My goal was to share with you the process so you can think through problems on your own and hopefully learn how to seek certain info and apply that in SolidWorks to get good results. Now, as an exercise, I now challenge you to model up these remaining pieces of the Lego train. Here's a screenshot of the dimensions you'll need to create these parts. If you get stuck, I'll leave a link below so you can reference these parts. To watch the next part of the beginner series, I'll leave a link somewhere up here. If you implement this, please tag me on Instagram at Ratha.Sochenda, and I'd love to see what you do with this. But before I let you go, what is your biggest struggle with SolidWorks? Let me know in the comment section. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, do me a favor, give it a like, subscribe, because it really helps me out. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.